Thanks everyone for coming on. My name's Jason Panda. I own B Condoms, the only black-owned condom company here in the United States. Today, I'm definitely happy to have everybody join. Today, we got a really cool special guest coming up. His name is BYHAZE, holistic musician, definitely extraordinarily talented. He's got a lot to talk about, so it's going to be really a cool conversation. Definitely one I'm excited about. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait for him to come on in a little bit.
Hey, we made it. Let me sit down. I had went on my own live. I was like, because I went to your page and I was like, do I join his or do I start mine and invite him? I don't know.
All right, hold on. Let me move mine around too.
Okay, they joining. I was worried. I was. It was lit. My live had like 15 people.
Oh, already.
And they was coming. I was like, oh, they ready. So hopefully they follow suit. And when we take the party to your page.
Oh, nah. Appreciate it.
Of course.
So,
trying to like sit down on the floor because honestly, that's just better.
nah. I've literally done like high, low, phone left, right, angle off, whatever.
Yeah, I just let it do what it wants, honestly.
So
how was your day?
What room are you in? I see you got the plants or whatever in the back.
This is my room, my lovely bedroom. Let me show you. Well, not all of it, but a piece of it. Yeah, so I just got some art there, some pieces.
Wow.
So like my bed is like in front of me to the left, to this side. So I try to keep it, something nice to look at in the morning. Make me think I'm outside. Okay.
Nah, trust me. It's like it's relaxing.
Exactly.
You can get in there. You kind of zone out. You can kind of like take your time.
You feel me? I got my little sections. I got my desk over there because I work from home. Got my bed. Got my little creative corner. So my cajon, my guitar is like right here. So
wow. So like
sometimes I don't leave my room. Some days I won't.
So who's the art piece by the one in the top? Like you have two pieces of art above your head?
Oh yeah. I got this piece when I was in college, so years ago.
That's the black one with the golden.
Yeah, so it's basically called like the Ancestors. And I'm so bad. I don't remember the artist who made it. I seriously got this like probably like 2014. So she was from the Midwest. I just know that. Maybe I'll be able to look her up. But this one is my cover art for my project. Yeah, so my friend Lenny, he's a muralist based in Newark. He was the one who actually made it. We teamed up, and I was
as well.
Huh?
You know how to draw as well?
No. I know how to conceptualize.
Okay.
I can bring a project to life. But yeah. He basically, I told him, I went through like 3 different covers. I came up with the concept of like, if I'm going to take this project called Clarity, like I want to depict like introspection. I want to depict like a spiritual journey. Like I want to depict an awakening. And usually that's portrayed by like your third eye opening up or being activated or something. And then there's like a bunch of triangles in it. So that represents change. So I know that I wanted to like portray that in a story somehow. So it started off as like a little image of like me as a baby cartoon with like the baby third eye in space or whatever. And then I was like, that's cool, but this ain't it. And then it went to a triangle with the eye. And I was like, we getting closer. And then me and Lenny, we did like a photo shoot and it turned out really dope. We did like, it was essentially like we did lighting, but the lighting was kind of like inspired by like your aura colors. And he took these dope ass photos and then he painted it. And like, it was crazy. It was so crazy. It was so crazy.
So like for clarity, where did that original kind of like inspiration come from your side? Like even before kind of like you found the depiction within the art. And I guess for people that may just be coming on, I just want you to kind of introduce yourself real quick. So today My name's Jason Panda. I run a Beholden Group B Condoms, only black-owned condom company. And then today,
Yes. Black on,
yeah,
blackity black.
today we got a huge opportunity, to speak with BYHAZE. Definitely multi-talented, model, actor, in all of the above, still creative, holistic genius.
Thank you.
And I just want to kind of like give you the opportunity just to introduce yourself. And then I definitely want to hear kind of like some of the inspiration that came before clarity.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction, my brother. We out here, we doing our thing. We trying to live our best life. So yeah, I'm BYHAZE, like you said. I like referred to as the architect of healing sounds. So like an architect is just a creator, someone who builds something. So I try to make sure that anything that I create has the intent of healing behind it. So when it comes down to my music, I know that sound has a very like strong healing property. It's literally like it's waves, Yeah. We'll get into that a little later. Yeah. So I wanted to make sure that whatever music I create sonically creates that experience for people. So down to the words, down to the beats that are chosen, the instruments, everything is created with the intent to kind of ease your mind, ease your body, ease your soul, make you feel at peace. So
now, has music always kind of been like therapeutic or kind of like a way of expression for you?
Like, for sure.
Where did it start? Did you grow up in kind of like a musical household, or kind of like where did it come from for you?
Like I would say, like yeah, like yes and no. Like yes, because my dad, he's a musician. He's very creative. He's like a preacher's child. So you know how preacher's children, they usually they play the instruments in church. So he could do everything. He'd be picking up my guitar and be showing me stuff, and I'm like, bro, why you ain't teach me that? But I grew up as like an only child, so I would be in the house alone a lot. Excuse me. So I would always play on my computer. I would play I would learn like Mixcraft, and I loved shows like American Idol and all of that crazy stuff. And shout out to Carlos. I would do all of that stuff, and so it just grew from there. And so it went from doing music, it went from doing like little videos, editing, and having me and my cousin like write music and sing songs together. Like I grew up dancing too. Like I used to do like ballroom dancing and hip hop dancing, and so I've always been creative. So like the arts has always been just a place for me to kind of like escape and just better myself,
Got it. How you doing, Callie? How you doing, Xavier? Just want to say hi to a couple of people as they come on.
Yes.
Who were your kind of like musical inspirations kind of growing up then? Because I grew like I have like brothers and sisters, but our age ranges are really big, right? So in a lot from like I kind of grew up as like an only child as well. And what happens, at least with me, was you end up having kind of like create your own environment because you don't have as many kind of like older siblings or younger to kind of influence that. So I guess like how did you kind of create what that experience or what that was going to look like as it related to your music? And really quick, if anybody has any questions right now, we got BYHAZE on the line. Like definitely post questions. We're going to be really interactive during the second part. We're going to be giving away free condoms for people that post questions as well. Make sure
free condoms. Don't use them during Corona though, unless you quarantine. But
I don't know if you saw, but they had a crazy article that said
I saw it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
It's passing season, so hopefully, people gonna start wrapping it up.
They better wrap it up. But you were saying influences.
Yeah.
So it's gonna sound funny, but because I'm a millennial.
Yeah.
So let's see, growing up a lot, it was definitely just a lot of TV shows. I feel like we had a lot of lit ass shows when we was younger. Like, so when I was a kid, Disney Channel was lit because Disney Channel was black. You feel me? Proud Family, that's what I remember, all of them shows. So all of those people, were very creative and multifaceted, But then after that, it became like different artists. My voice was very high growing up, so like I used to listen to like a lot of like Brandy, a lot of like Destiny's Child, Beyonce's, and then as my voice started changing, I started listening to like more eccentric artists like Erykah Badu and like Janelle Monáe, listening to like people like that in that sector, in the soulful sector. And I just honestly listen to a lot of like female artists. I feel like their voices just sound better to me. So that's kind of where I pull a lot of my inspiration from,
So like,
in writing style.
so like if you were to name kind of like your top three kind of like female artists or whatever, who is your top three? Like if you got to go to bat with three, who do you pick?
Beyonce, without a doubt. Erykah Badu, without a doubt. And who's gonna be my other third favorite? I mean, the ones who I said, you know what I mean? Like, because they all do something different, amazingly in their own way. Like Beyonce brings the entertainment, she brings the show, like her stages.
Yeah, yeah.
You cannot rock with her, you can't mess with her, and it's only grown.
Lauren
And
Hill.
her like harmonies and stuff and backgrounds. Then you got Erykah Badu, who's her own self. Yes, Lauren for sure. Erykah Badu is just that girl. Like, she's just the truth to me, and I just think like she's such a pure soul, and like I just like how she just shows up as herself.
How do you think she was able to like age so gracefully, right? Because she's a lot
Minding
of
her business,
right? Like
and not caring. I
yeah.
just feel like she don't care like about what other people think. Truly, like we all have our moments where we're like, yo, damn, people got something to say, but
Yeah.
I feel like she just does her thing, and by like sticking to her routine, her spiritual routine, and being grounded, she's that girl. I like her discography. It's so wide, it's so vast. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So like I guess now let's say that we're to look back at like we're like 10 years ahead, and we're gonna look back now on your discography, right? From like the last 10 years.
Word.
What does that look like?
For me,
Yeah.
it's gonna sonically change. Like, I think like if you listen to Clarity, it was really kind of me finding my voice and understanding like what it is that I want to put out in the world. And as much as I do love like soulful music and kind of like slow type of stuff, one of the most standout tracks is Magnetic and Breathe, which are like kind of house tracks with a lot of bass and a lot of just upbeat and movement. And I like to dance. So I feel like my discography is definitely going to evolve in that direction too. I'm going to make more house tracks. I'm going to make more dance tracks. I'm going to make stuff that makes people move and feel inspired to do just that, you know?
Yeah.
And definitely I'm going to get that Erykah Badu collab, you know? And if I'm blessed like Megan, I'm going to get that Beyonce collab too. I don't know what it's going to sound like, but it's going to be lit.
Yeah, that would be huge, man. Like, you know, one of the things that's always like so interesting when anytime I think about like about Erykah Badu or whatever is like the impact that she has when it comes to her relationships.
Okay.
So, like, people go like 180. like if you look at kind of like a before and after,
yeah,
it's almost like that energy is like so overwhelming, both in terms of like just the physical, the spiritual, the sexual.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's almost like pure energy in like its most raw form.
Literally.
Right? So like, do you think that that's something that can be captured in that art as well? Like if you kind of look at your own career or whatever, and you're talking about that energy, how do you connect that to the experience of being able to kind of give out what you feel in the music at a certain point in your life?
I think it involves, patience and really sitting with yourself and thinking about like what is the message that I'm trying to get out. And then like once you're clear on that, being fearless in how you portray it, you have to like, I feel like you got to put out something that hasn't been seen before or done before.
Yeah.
And just think about like just the impact that it has. Like for me, empathy is the core of all of the work that I do. So I try to make something that's going to like inspire someone and make them feel. And team is important. Like my last video, my director came through. Aaron came through. Like we talk a lot. We're very like eye to eye. We make sure that we work together, but you got to have people that can help bring your vision to life. Because if you have the wrong people on your team, they might take your vision and take it here. But if you have the right ones, they can actually merge with your vision and, make it grow like a tree. So.
Got it. So like, I guess like two other quick questions. Like,
yeah, for sure.
One is like, like sometimes like, people are ahead of their time, right?
Yeah.
Have you looked at like some of your art or like some of your music and you were like, this is really dope. It's just like a little too far ahead of its time, what people are ready for, right? That's
Yeah.
question one, right?
Yeah.
And then question two is, what do you think about kind of like the movement that's taking place amongst like a lot of young artists in terms of like
Mm-hmm.
being sexual and kind of being like fluid and all of that, and like how does that also begin to influence the music for
Mm-hmm.
both like the current as well as like future generations?
Mm-hmm. When it comes to future stuff and being ahead of its time, I feel like that's a good thing, I think, because at some point somebody's going to listen to your sound, and like you said, I think songs are like, they can be like wine. They can age beautifully, like, and it's amazing to know that if your song is ahead of its time, you're doing the right thing, I feel like, because that means it can transcend a generation and an era, because what you don't want to give off is a dated sound. But if you're giving off a sound that's like ahead of its time, that usually means that it's timeless.
Yeah.
So that's my goal always, to try to make something that's timeless.
Okay.
But in regards to the whole, like you said, the fluidity,
Yeah.
I think that that's amazing, because that's me all the way. Like, I try to like leave it up for interpretation, you know, because sexuality is on a spectrum, and trying to like, enclose us, it just doesn't. It's we're seeing in this world that it's just not real anymore. People are much more compelled to be are much more they're finding much more freedom in their fluidity and in their authenticity. So
And
seeing artists that do that, it just creates a whole new world, and it allows, the artists and the audience to create this new world that we live in.
and how do you find a way to kind of express that in your music?
I think it's about smart lyric choices, smart lyric choices. Like, there's times like my intro song, the first song, it's very ambiguous,
Yeah.
and it leaves it up for interpretation, because love doesn't have a gender, love doesn't have a race or none of that, but it just has that emotion and that feeling. So I think by allowing yourself to do that, it just allows you to express a fluid story. Because like 2 a.m. Thoughts or Magnetic, both of those songs were about my experiences with males, but the video for the Magnetic told a story about a toxic situation with womanizer,
Yeah.
but I've been in that position as well.
Yeah.
So it's honest. It's important to, like, I feel like it's important to tell that story, regardless of who you are. So sometimes you can be the person as the artist to tell that story, or you can hire other artists, like actors or whatever, to help you tell that story, or other dancers to tell that story. And I think that that's important with your art. It makes it more dynamic.
God. Now, how much do your kind of like dating or your relationships influence your music, right? Like,
All the way.
About, like, are you all the way like Mary J. Blige, or like is it kind of like somewhere like where you can literally write like the story of your life based upon like where your music was at that point?
It took some time to get there, and I feel like I'm still growing in that vulnerability, but like, for sure. Like, if I'm in a situation, like, it's definitely, it has to be inspired by what I went through, because then I'm not going to sing it with that same level of conviction. I feel like if it's something that somebody wrote for me that like I don't relate to, and I think that authenticity, that vulnerability reads very well. Like, excuse me, I'm sorry, I just ate. And it was so good. But that vulnerability, like, is what resonates with people. They want to see their favorite artist be vulnerable. They want to know that their favorite artist got through that heartbreak, so that they can get through that heartbreak too, and know that there's hope. So I'm definitely doing that. I'll be like, yo, look, if you date an artist, you might end up in a song, That's just how it is.
So like, hold on. So we got somebody to ask a question talking about does sexual freedom come with higher consciousness? Do you believe that?
I think so. I think so. I think like the more with higher consciousness, I think you're knowing more about yourself as a whole, and you're not necessarily, you're kind of out of the matrix. You're not trapped to the terms of what society wants you to do. And you start to learn that sexuality is on a spectrum, and you just see where you fit on the spectrum. I feel like And that's the thing. There's people who are like, you know what, I lean more this way, or I lean more that way, or I'm kind of in the middle. I'm kind of more here. But then the biggest part is that's you. What you see on the external side, that has nothing to do with you. You just got to support the fact that these people are comfortable enough to love rather than berate them and bash them for being free, you know? So I think the more that I've known myself and evolved spiritually, like, yeah, I just be like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Now, hold on. Somebody posted a question. Now, if anybody has any questions, feel free to post them. We're definitely going to try to get to them. So hold on. This was one of the questions that got posted.
What do you do to get in a creative zone? What's your process? Okay. To get in a creative zone, put my phone down or put it on do not disturb first and foremost, because I feel like when you're writing, if you're getting a text message, it can throw you off, or you get a call, it can throw you off. But I feel like the first step, if anything, is kind of getting grounded, whether that be meditating, whether that be breathing, whether that just be separating yourself from distraction, and then just diving in. Like when I get music, it depends. I can get inspired by a video that I watched, or a book that I've read, or a song that I've heard, and I'll say, you know what, I'm gonna write to this song. But if I do that, I have to catch that moment of inspiration and ride it until it's done.
Wow.
Because what people tend to do is they'll get a moment and they may write like 2-3 sentences or 2-3 lines and then get distracted and then try to come back and catch that same level of inspiration, but it's not there. It's transformed. So you kind of just have to see the creative process through. Even if you feel as though it's not good, you can always edit and cut back. It's like writing a paper. You can write a paper, write 30 pages, but it's better to write 30 that and like have 20 bad pages than write only 3 and then those are not the best that you could have been, you know? You got to let your ideas out and just cut the fat. So
God. So hold on. Like, if anybody has any questions, a lot of people are posting questions right now.
Let's get into it. Let's talk.
Yeah. So before we ask this question, let me from an interviewer perspective and just ask one other one. Do you think that like the Black community is really ready for kind of like what you were talking about in terms of like fluidity and music and all of that at time?
Yeah.
Or especially like, I guess, like your experience, like growing up in a house where like your dad was kind of like a preacher's son or whatever, right? Like, how does that all kind of blend into your experience and your perspective around your music and how that becomes therapeutic?
Yeah, I feel like that's why, like I say, music is healing and freeing. Because, like I said, not only is my dad a preacher, but I'm Jamaican, you know? So it's like, you already know about Jamaica. Like, we got songs about killing gay people. We got songs about that shit. And it's very taboo. So, in a sense, that was a bit traumatizing as a kid, a bit scary and nerve-wracking to kind of step out in that space. But sometimes the music was that healing space for me. But what I've learned is, when you got a gift and you got a message and you're being a source or a vessel to deliver that message, you have to see it through, because you don't know. You could be the person that inspires the next person who's struggling with what you're struggling with to overcome it and free themselves as well. Because at the end of it all, you know, you're put here to teach someone something. So like, I feel like with my art, I've learned the more that I stick with it and the more that I share, the more confident I become, and the more I attract the audience that needs the message. Like, I was nervous. It's like, oh my gosh, like, magnetic. What are they gonna say? Like, are they gonna get Angel Harp? Are they gonna understand it? But then, you know, some dude from Ohio, like, posts a video of him singing the chorus and was like, yo, bro, he was like, I went out to the trees and I was singing this message to the trees because and I'm like, yo, that's what I wanted you to do. Like, so I feel like when it comes down to your creativity, you know what I'm saying, regardless of if you're, you know, the key is just being authentic, being your real self, and trusting that. And the more that you share it, like, the easier it becomes, you know? And it'll create space for other people to step into their true authenticity. It ain't easy, but the more you do it, the easier it becomes, you know?
Got it. So hold on. So we got a question here. Somebody was asking, how long does it take for you to write a song?
It depends. Like, if I focus, it can happen in a day. But if I don't sit with my process, it can take very long. Like I've had times where I've written a song literally in an hour max, or like 30 minutes. But there was one song that I had, and I was like, shit, it took me like, I wrote a piece in 1 month, and then the next month I came back to it and I wrote another piece. So I feel like I said that I have to hold myself accountable to sticking with my process. Because it ranges. It really ranges.
So how do you feel about fame? You know, like some people do it just solely because they want the fame.
Yeah.
And then you have the other people that kind of like do it for like the love or like the experience and like like feeling that. Like, what's your feeling about that?
Yeah, I definitely had
the whole spectrum now. Like now that you're in the industry, you're bubbling, you're growing. Like
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, like when it comes to fame does not pay the bills. Fame does not make you full at night. Like there's people with 180,000, 1,000,000 followers, all with fame and success, but they're not fulfilled. So for me, it's just like what's fulfilling is knowing that the music is actually impacting people, it's healing people, it's making people ground themselves, it's comforting them. You know, that's much more of value than fame. Because I could get on Jimmy Fallon or I can get on Good Morning America. It's good to amplify the message so that more people hear it. Yeah. But again, the fame, when I die, it's not going to do nothing for me or my family, but have people looking, you know? I feel like it's really just about legacy. That's really what I'm more concerned about. And if my legacy isn't about like community building, isn't about passing the baton to the next artist or developing the next artist or developing my community, my family to sustain themselves, I could care less about fame. But I get why people get captivated with it, because we think that famous people are the key. But as you can see with COVID, we all in the same boat. We all in the house. We all are in the house.
So let me ask you a question. Like, how do you find the balance between like work, community, and kind of like what you're kind of focused in around like mental health? Like how do you find the time to I guess give enough attention and enough importance to each of those within your life? Because there's only so many hours in a day.
Seriously. I mean, it's a everyday working process. One thing I definitely invested in is a planner.
Wow.
You know, I have always used planners. Because the thing is, I have my master's degree in public administration, you know, so I went to school for like 5 years, worked and paid, worked in housing and got that paid. And even while doing that, had a nonprofit and was still like figuring out my music stuff. And I'm an Aries, so like we like that. Like we like to do busy stuff, you know. It's like we can't sit still. But the way that I maintain balance is literally by planning in advance and planning your rest. You know, plan your rest, plan your downtime, plan your your meals, like plan your moments that aren't work related. Like my planner used to have 3 sectors, and I'd be like,
so are you like that super A type? Like,
what is that?
It has to be kind of like micromanaged down to like.
I can write it, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna do it every time. So I'm not gonna sit here and be like, "Ooh, I'm gonna plan everything." No. I feel like there's power in the pen when you write stuff for show.
Okay.
So it's the effort of doing that, because the thing about planning is there's routine. You know, you have to have a routine in place as a person. I feel like we all have a routine or a ritual. You know what I'm saying? But me writing down, I used to write, like I said, I used to have a sector. It'd be like school, nonprofit, and then work. And I would just be like doing those, but I never would put rest in that. I would never put food and going on a date or whatever the fuck. And so then I started to really just cut back, and I said, no. Like my planner now just has 2 sections, my work section and my personal section. And my personal section will have more in it than my work section, because I can't be living for this job. You know, the job fuels the dream, and that's it.
No, I get it 1,000%.
Yeah.
So hold on really quick. If anybody has any questions, Definitely post them. We're definitely going to try to get to all of the questions right now.
For sure.
Hayes on here, extraordinary. Just healing, just good energy.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah. No worries, no worries. So, next question we had is: do you find it easier to write when you're happy or unhappy?
Oh, that's a good one. I think some of the best songs come from pain sometimes, if you know how to transmute it. And sometimes that sucks because I'm like, dang, I don't want to make a whole sappy album, you know. But I think like there's those moments when you're hurt. If you transmute your pain into your pen, like you can make a song that can uplift you. So I do find it sometimes easier at that point. Like if I'm super duper stoked, like
Yeah,
I'm just like, what am I gonna write? Ooh, the sunshine was beaming. Like sometimes don't nobody want to hear that. But
yeah, yeah.
I think it's definitely easier when you're like a little bit low. But I'm trying to challenge myself to write from more of a happy place because I think the world needs that more. Cause that's my aura. Like I like acoustic. I'll be like, I'll smile and but
Yeah.
sometimes the lyrics may have been sad, but I'll still flip it in a happy way. So
Okay. Hold on 1 second before I start asking my question. Make sure I get.
run it up. Let's get personal.
Yeah,
And let
right.
me get some water. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Actually, the water's right here.
Oh, what? All right, here we go.
Ooh,
Glad you got that water right there.
right. Let me just. Here we go. It's like now. So, what has good sex inspired you to do afterwards? Write a hit song or man? Listen, I think it. That's the funny thing about sex. Like, there's this practice they call sexual transmutation, right? And you can be if you don't have like a sense of control around your sexual urges, you can be creatively depleted. So I've had times where I
Creatively
was
depleted by kind of like engaging in too much sex.
yes, because
Yeah.
this may sound crazy, but I feel like so our seed, okay, our seed has power.
Okay.
Okay, our seed can create life, you know?
Yeah.
Sex is creation energy. So
Yeah.
if me and a female are having sex and I ejaculate, a baby is born, a life is created. So that's creation energy. So even if I have sex and I release in a condom, that creation energy has come out. But if I can retain my creative energy a bit and hold on to it a little bit sometimes, I can sometimes tap into it a little bit better. So but there's times where that good stuff, it happens. And I've had a moment where like I can look back on it and be like, damn, that was good as hell. Like I
Yeah.
like how that feels, and I could reflect on it. So like for sure, it's definitely inspired a good song. Like Magnetic was definitely off of a me being I felt encapsulated by that intimacy. But in the instance, if I overindulge, I can be creatively depleted. So I've learned to be a bit more responsible with my sexual energy. Just as an Aries, I like to get it popping.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
On a real, I've been abstinent since last July.
So we got to. What about like masturbating?
Ugh, that's the hard part, especially during this quarantine. It's like, we don't got nothing but time, and I can't be out in these streets
Yeah.
being distracted, so I have to catch myself. Like it's the same energy too. Like you gotta like I think it's powerful. I think it helps. I don't think it's good to be backed up, but I think there's times where you have that thought like, maybe I should release, or maybe I should beat my.
Yeah.
Instead of that, work out. You know,
That
do
act.
some squats, or write that song, or try to write a song about that shit, and see what else will come out of it. And that's how you can transmute that sexual energy into something in the real world.
Now,
You know?
somebody said like abstinence since last July.
Yes.
So hold on, let's hear like what's the experience been like for everybody else. I got an interesting thing. Like you ever like listen to like Mike Tyson talk, like anytime like before he would fight,
hmm
he used to say he used to have sex like with like 2 or 3 women before, in order to be able to like get him to like the right energy.
Yeah.
Had to have like 3, literally before his fights. He used to have sex like right before him.
That's crazy.
Or it was like his
shout out to Mike.
But like, do you know, like, but you'll also hear like with a lot of athletes, like some NBA guys, they'd like, you know, they'd almost have like a rule, like in the playoffs, like no sex or like none of that. Like, have you had that experience, I guess, outside of when you're writing, but when you're performing? Like, do you have a rule of like right before you go up on stage, like there's no sex or like there's no like nothing to shift your energy? Like,
I mean, I feel like for sure, yeah. It's especially if you not if it's not somebody that you are like super duper committed with and who you are not clear about what their energy is like, you know, because it's an exchange. And sometimes like if you are with the wrong person, they could suck your energy. And then you go on the stage and you're half-assed. So for me, I'm not smoking weed before I go on the stage. I'm not getting drunk before I go on the stage. I feel like it's a sacred time, just like sex is sacred.
And how much time do you consider sacred before you perform?
It depends. I guess like it depends as much as I can control. Like that more like I feel like the
whole day. Like you got to get your mind right that day when it's time to perform.
In some cases, so we're looking at an Afro-Punk performance that I did in July.
Yeah.
I was on a water fast 4 days prior. I was, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't doing shit because I've never performed somewhere that big before. It was a 30+ minute set on a massive stage with screens and, you know, thousands of people. So I'm like, okay, I need to be at my highest degree. I need to be like a Power Ranger today. So in that case, I'm like, let me preserve. But I feel like that for true, it's just you got to get your head in the game. It's just like a game. As long as you condition your body and your voice and your legs and whatever to get yourself right, that's up to you. But for me, for something like that, I need to wake up with the mindset that I'm about to body this shit, and I can't be distracted by sex or by food or some bullshit. You feel me?
Got it. So hold on. Somebody asked, you know, if anybody has any questions right now, we have BYHAZE on the line. Definitely feel free to shoot some questions by. We're going to try to get to all of them. Definitely having a real cool conversation around like energy, like sexual practice, mental health, community, and all of the good stuff. So we got a question right now. Somebody was asking, are there any songs that you will never release? Some that you just have for your private collection?
Yeah. Honestly, so many. And I think the thing that's cool is I do a lot of voice memos, you know? And sometimes there'll be songs that are just like, this just ain't ready for the world right now. Because I'm not ready to share it. So, for sure. And I think that's important because sometimes you may write a song like Angel Harp. That literally was a healing song for me. Like I literally would listen to it every day. Like I would listen to the chorus, look inside, you'll see time heals wounds, just breathe, because I needed to remind myself that because the chaos on the outside world, I needed to remind myself, oh, let me look inside and remind myself that even though I may have this cut right now, it may hurt right now, but it's going to heal, you know, as long as I tend to it. So I think that I definitely will have songs that the world may not hear. As I think every artist does, because one, they need them, but also because that shit is trash. Like, like you don't need to hear the garbage. Like we have throwaways that may not be released, and that just happens.
And one interesting thing I'd actually want to know from the audience is like, I guess when it comes to like therapy and kind of like finding your inner voice, like I guess what songs kind of like, I guess what songs do different people go to? Yeah, I'm kind of wondering that. Like, I know I have my own that I just.
Or what are yours? What are yours? And then we'll talk about what theirs are.
Like, no, I'll tell you, I'm one of the people that it's all about my mood, right? Yeah. So like, there's like sometimes when I'll wake up and I'll be like in just like a kind of very cerebral. Like I prefer a lot of times kind of like be behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
you know, like your question about fame and all of that, I could definitely go without the fame for life, right?
Yeah.
But if I have an option, like I want the lifestyle.
Right. I want the money.
I want
I want
money.
the house. You feel
I
me?
don't need it all. Like, you know, I'm not greedy or anything like
Of
that.
course not. Look, you want to be good.
I want to be good.
You want your family to be
And I want
good.
my family to be good.
I
Like,
get it. I get it.
past, right? Like the fame, y'all can keep it. I don't need to be on every red carpet. Everybody don't need to know who I am. I'll be all right without all that. Like, you know, I don't even need the Ferrari because I don't need that attention.
Mm-hmm.
But let me go back, pay my bills, travel like I want to travel, live like I want to live, eat like I want to eat, and not have to worry about the account.
Mm-hmm.
I'm there 100%.
Facts.
So like, yeah, so that's why I would say, like, so with me, it's all about like my mood.
Yeah.
Like, and I can pick and I can tell the mood I'm gonna be in at the day based on like my first hour.
Word. Word.
If it's bad, I gotta be like, all right, today I may just have to wash. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna change things up for the day.
Hell yeah.
I think where I'm at now, I can kind of realize where I'm at. So
Yeah.
I can also kind of work on, like, I don't project it out to other people.
Exactly.
Right? Like that, I guess that's one of the areas that I had to kind of personally grow in.
Yeah.
Where, you know, like a while ago, if your energy's off, you may end up taking that people that just don't know, they ain't got no idea where it's coming from, why it's there, or anything. And I was like, yo,
you got to be accountable for your energy.
You gotta be and you gotta, and one other thing, you gotta learn to apologize. Like if you in the wrong, ain't nothing wrong.
Absolutely.
Yo, I realize
That's beautiful. That's the lesson of this Scorpio full moon. You are not always right. And that's what I've been telling myself, like, because my Aries ass can be stubborn. And I'm like, yo, you are not always right. And that's okay. Because when you fail, you learn.
Yeah.
And we need to be failing forward.
Yeah.
We can't be afraid to fail.
Yeah.
You know, we cannot be afraid to fail.
Yeah.
Somebody asked something. They said a therapeutic rap song. Get into Queen Latifah, Just Another Day. Shout out to Queen Latifah, East Orange.
Well, therapeutic rap, like you ever hear Stressed Out by Mobb Deep?
By who?
Mobb Deep, Stressed Out.
Mm-mm.
You gotta.
I'll add that to my list. Let me not get dragged.
Yeah. I definitely add that one to your list as well. Somebody said I apologize to your women.
Absolutely, Elijah. What up, though? Jersey in the building, like.
All right, yeah, y'all Jersey strong.
You already know, Jersey don't play.
Mm-hmm.
Some of your faves are from Jersey, Lauren.
For sure. So, have you ever had ex-lovers reach out?
So it's so funny, yeah. And I definitely be feeling bad. I felt so. There's a funny story.
Now, hold on. Before you answer, right?
Yeah.
When they reached out, was the song actually about them, or did they misplace it?
It was about them, or it was about the situation. It was about the situation. So the situation was inspired by it. So they had.
You gotta give some specifics now. You ain't gotta name no names, but you gotta give us some specifics.
I got you. I like to tell stories, you know, but we just can't get to the gritty. You know what I'm saying? I gotta build it up. So I got you. So it was I like. And that song was about like a situationship and kind of going back and forth, and how sometimes when you're in a situation you think you like it, but in reality you don't, because you're not fulfilled. If the boundaries aren't agreed upon, and somebody end up getting their feelings hurt. So it was somebody that I was in a situationship with for probably like 3-4 years, because we were both. I know. It was so bad. We were both figuring each other out. We were figuring ourselves out, but we both didn't want to commit. So it was like, you know. And looking back on it, I was young. I was literally like 18, 19. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't ready to be locked down, and neither was they. But you know, I kind of use that as an experience to learn, because I've apologized since, like, damn, I'm sorry for stringing you along, and vice versa, you know, and we both came to a common ground. So like it was a healing process for both of us to get to that point. So they were like, the funny thing that was, this person is like engaged, and tell their fiance in an argument, like, I wrote this song about them. And I'm like, don't be bringing me in your situation. Like, see? So that's why we need to sign non-disclosure forms when I tell people about these damn songs.
So, like, then let me ask you another question then. Are you like good like ex? Like, I always ask people like, yo, there are some people when it ends, like they're trying to like literally shake the earth, right? Like there's no peace until the end of the days, right? Then you got the other ones that are kind of cool with it, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of ex are you? Like
I'm gonna be, if we ended it and it's peaceful, I'm gonna love you from a distance. Or you know, we could kick it, but just like boundaries. Like I can't, like, for the more recent things, it's not like it's been a bad thing, but it's just been like, let's agree on our boundaries and let's not cross this again. Because sometimes I don't know, like people be wanting to not let go all the way, and I'm like, so I gotta love you from a distance because I can't. I don't want to hurt your feelings.
You're not the one that's gonna go like slashing tires or like.
I would never. I think that's goofy. That means that you have unresolved feelings. You have unresolved feelings if you're doing that.
No. I will tell you, I've definitely
That's some crazy shit.
No. I've dealt with crazy. Like, so
I'm sorry. So is my dad.
No, and there are different levels, right? Like, I'll tell you, I'll before, because you know I'm holding up a lot of your time, but I'll tell you one quick crazy story or whatever. One time I was dating somebody, and literally like we're in the house, and I'm like non-confrontational to kind of begin, so I don't like arguing, I don't like all of that. So I was like, I waited, I was like, nah, this ain't even gonna work, right? So I left, and I decided I was gonna, and because I was literally like in the area, and I was going to hotel, right? And I just bounced, went to a hotel. Don't you know this girl went and visited like 15 different hotels until she found out which one mine was? And then, literally, when she got to the hotel, convinced the girl at the front desk that she was my wife to get to my room. And at 6 o'clock in the morning, I wake up to her opening the door. When I tell you, I was like, there are levels to this game.
What did you do? What is your zodiac sign? That's what I need to know.
I was like scared for my life. Like imagine like you think you good, you out of it, right? And then
that's some obsessed shit.
You wake up at 4 o'clock, literally like 4 or 5 in the morning. Somebody's opening your door, right? 4, 5, 6. I was already asleep, right? You wake up and because last thing they like you wake up, they're opening your door.
A Russian spy.
What the fuck? And you're looking at it and you're like, yo, like literally she went by 15 different hotels until she found out which one I was at. And I was like, too much. So yeah.
That is crazy.
And that I swear to God is a real.
I was about to say, what did you do? Because she was hooked. I would have gotten a year's worth of hotel stays off of that hotel. Because how you gonna do that?
Yo, like number one, like even by the time
she could have killed you.
What do you think I was thinking? I was like, I wanted to like tap down. She had on a sweater, right? I was like, you want to like almost tap it on it or whatever. Because you ever watch that? What's that female channel? Not Lifetime or whatever, but they have
Oxygen.
It's like not CSI, but it's
Snapped on Oxygen.
Snapped, yeah, that's it. Like I don't watch enough of those shows where like you look up and like when people go over that edge, like they are on a whole nother level. So I was like patting her sweater to make sure she didn't.
You see, you slick. They coming for you in the comments. They said you not telling. What did you do? What did you do?
I'm a good dude. I ain't do nothing wrong. I'm a lover. I'm not a fighter. I just but I guess she already had like that long goal in her mind. I just didn't.
He said I can't say this on the Be Condom site. He said I can't expose it. I can't expose black business, black excellence. I can't do that.
I can't give away all the secrets.
You good because she probably watching right now.
But real talk, like that right there was like I was like, whoa, that was way beyond anything I ever experienced. I got some other stories too, but like, that was next level.
Lord, that's funny. You sound like a Jamaican man. You had that girl stressed. That poor girl was stressed.
All right, hold on. We got another question.
Word.
After this, I don't want to take up too much of your time or whatever. So I'll definitely kind of wind it down after this. But definitely want to get this one out. Somebody was like, "What is your pre-performance ritual?"
Word. So I definitely pray heavy. It's me and my band. Even like the person that I perform with the most is my my musical director. He's a guitarist. Excuse me. And so he's very spiritual. So am I. So we pray. And if we got the whole band, the background singers, we pray. And just get on the same frequency. Take a moment to just breathe and kind of not engage with a bunch of other people and absorb their energy. We kind of need to get on the same frequency and understand that we have the same mission. Like, we go into this stage to body this. We about to heal these people. So we need to be on the same accord. And then, drink some tea, you know what I'm saying? Drink some tea. Try not to eat nothing too crazy. Erykah Badu be like, I eat kettle chips, but I'm like, I like a good kettle chip.
So hold on, do you get the rider or whatever kind of before your shows where you get to pick exactly kind of what you want or whatever?
You can. I think that's a blessing. So my rider will definitely have some tea on it. You know what I'm saying? Some limes on it. Some honey on it. Manuka if you got money. You know. And then some fruits. We just want some fruits. Oh, they asked about the planner.
So real before you answer the question on the planner,
got you.
Marciel, definitely email or jump into the B Condoms DMs after or whatever. You're gonna be the one to win the condoms because you posted the most amount of questions. So definitely, we're kind of pushing for engagement. So anybody that kind of asks a lot of questions or kind of keeps us engaged, definitely DM your information.
Look at that.
Thank you so much for the support.
Of course.
So now that one's done, what planner do you recommend?
So this is my planner. It's big as hell. And the message on it is funny. It says "Just breathe." And so this is by the Happy Planner brand. And it's me and my big idea. So what I like about them is this is kind of how the inside looks. So I know that looks stressful, but you can set up your tasks for the day, like a to-do list, and check it off.
Get it out.
And then you got how do you spend your time unplugged? What are you reading? Reflections points, all that good stuff. So you could really do that. And then when you're done with the month, you could rip that shit out and throw it away.
Got it.
So it saves lives. It saves lives. I need to hit them up and be like, y'all want to brand ambassadorship? Because I get them shit sold.
Somebody said, don't forget, guys, corona is found in semen. Yeah,
straight up. And the best way to prevent that is by staying abstinent. But if that don't work for you, wrap it up.
Yeah.
Wrap it up with the black condoms.
Or just, got to masturbate as well. Or ladies use the vibrator, whatever you got to do to find your
peace.
Sexually express yourself and find your peace.
It's liberating.
Yeah.
I ain't going to act like I don't do that. Yeah. I get free. But I get free when I need to get free.
So BYHAZE, thank you so.
Of course.
I had a really, really good combo. Definitely appreciated your time, appreciated the energy.
No doubt.
Appreciated you sharing your experience, your stories. We're actually in the process of moving a company from New York to Atlanta. So after this, if you ever end up in Atlanta, I don't know if you're going to perform at the Afro-Punk Atlanta or anytime like that.
I will once they open back up.
Yeah, definitely come check us out. Hopefully Corona gone and everything by then. And just real quick, let everybody know where you can find you because we're going to put together the clips and all of that and make sure you get. So
I got you. So firstly, shout out to Chile. They in the building. And like you said, I am BYHAZE. That's at IAMBYHAZE on all platforms. You can find my music BYHAZE on streaming platforms. Listen to Clarity. That's my most recent project. And let me know what you think. I'm here. I'm not one of those people that be ignoring your DMs unless you're saying some bullshit. But yeah, holla at me. It's all love.
All right. Thank you.
Of course, brother.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll definitely hit you up right after.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. No problem.
All right, now. Peace.